Cafe Networking podcast promotes successful business experts. I'm Tom Rioch, known as the King of Networking, connecting people throughout the world from my podcast studio in Brazil. Joining us today from Ottawa, Canada, Matthew Sanjari, founder and lead business coach of Prime Consulting, a dynamic consultancy known for its pragmatic and strategic approach to scaling business and helping entrepreneurs reach their potential. Matthew, you say, when we build people, we build business. How is that?
Yeah, that's a great question, Tom. I think in my experience, and I think that this far extends even beyond business, but this idea that when we build people, what we're actually doing is we're building people to take on leadership, to take on responsibility, to see them grow in their skills, to see them enhance even in their person and grow as people. So when we invest in people, what we're really doing is we're investing in business. And that's one of the best ways. I actually think it's the best way to grow business. I've kind of tried it all, right? I've done the solopreneur route. I've been the guy that's only hired when you have to hire. I've tried to be the guy that's relied on a lot of software and, a lot of different systems.
Right.
And all those things are great, but there is nothing to me that's more compounding than being able to bring people onto your team that you can hand responsibilities to,
right.
You can delegate things to, you can start to scale through. And I also think it just brings a lot of enjoyment to business. And so my number one advice that I give to people is I say, if you're not already, we need to position your business or your organization so that it is building people, so that you start to have a succession plan, right? One of the things I love to ask entrepreneurs or high-level leaders, I say, if something were to happen to you, God forbid, and you were knocked out for a month, what would happen to your business?
Right.
What would happen to your organization? And, most people, as I'm sure you know,
no plan,
right? Most people come back and they say, well, Matt, I probably wouldn't have a business left. And I tell them, well, then you didn't have a business to start with. You had a job. Because when you don't show up to your job, you don't get paid.
Right.
And so it's this idea that, well, let's build the kind of business. And even where you're at right now, if you're drowning in the day-to-day, maybe you've been doing it well with just a few people. If we can shift your focus to build people and to build the systems that support people, I think as business owners, as executives, as managers, high-level leaders, you're just going to be so much better off because it's going to allow you to focus. As you start to delegate, as you start to automate, you're going to start to focus on the things that you're supposed to be doing.
No, I can agree with you. And what I see from your site, you help leaders move from employees to executives, right? And what we see, and we've been seeing, many companies haven't treated their personnel as people. And then they become disenfranchised. The people become disenfranchised, leaving. They want to start their own business, but it's back to the people. And they have to realize what you just said. The people in a company and then going out and starting their own business, that they're still people. So it's back to the basics.
Absolutely. It's such a mindset shift, but I think it's so important because, again, like I said, whether it's succession, whether it's wanting to grow, whether it's wanting to become more efficient. And I think one of the biggest sells that I tell entrepreneurs and business owners all the time is, hey, you should do this because it's actually going to benefit your life. You're going to get boundaries. You're going to get your mental health back. You're going to get your time back because not everything has to rest on you. And so if we take the time ever so slightly, just every day or every week, and we build in time to build people and to develop leaders in our organizations, I think we'll be pretty amazed at what happens.
Well, in business coaching, as you are you looking towards the individual? Are you looking to the startup? Are you looking to the company that started and scaling?
Great question. So I actually I occupy two roles. So I function as both a business coach and a strategic consultant. So the business coach in me works with the individual who is the head of the organization, because oftentimes as the owner, they wear an immense amount of responsibility.
Right.
And so I work with them to problem solve, workshop, strategize, but instead of just leaving them as is, because the chances are if you're coming to me, you probably already have great ideas. You probably have all the strategy in the world. That strategic consultant side is where I work with your team, I work with your managers, or I work within the business to try and implement the very things we're talking about. So we're not just planning, and we're not just implementing. I think both of those have a place, and we want to marry the two. And that's the niche that I operate in, is trying to help business owners
Right.
and their teams grow and scale their business. Not just a cool marketing strategy, not just let's sit down and brainstorm ideas. Let's figure out and move together.
And to that, what you say here, the execution and the implementation part, that's not plug and play. You really have to have the soft touch to help them through that.
Yeah, listen, I tell people all the time, if you're in your line of work, you're the expert. I'm not the expert. So if you're not bringing me in to have all the answers. What you're doing is you're bringing me in to help configure a system that works for you in your business. I don't want to see people just reading books and just listening to podcasts and thinking it's plug and play, because it might not work for you.
Right.
So let's build something that works for you, that works around you, and that works through you. So that way, as we start to implement it, it's sustainable and it's going to make sense, not just for you as the business owner or the executive, but also for the business.
And then you're side by side. As you do this, you're staying with them for the journey.
Absolutely. Yeah. So rather than offer a 4, 6, 8, or 10-week offering, what I do is I tell people, hey, I want to be in this with you. You get to choose. Is it biweekly, weekly, twice a week? There's different offerings depending on what your needs are. But yeah, I think part of that accountability and being here to help just be that person who checks your blind spots is imperative to us working together on a regular basis.
So it's being there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's being there. It's being accountable and us working together. I want to get in the trenches with my clients.
Very well. You want to help them get out of the trenches and onto the playing field, right?
Absolutely.
Very good. Well, Matthew, how can our listeners find you?
Yeah, so you guys can go to consultingbyprime.com. That's my website, consultingbyprime.com. Or please connect with me. I love connecting with people on LinkedIn or Instagram. Just look up Matthew Sanjari, Sanjari. That's Matthew Sanjari, Sanjari. I'd love to connect with you.
Very good. Thanks for being here, Matthew.
Thanks for having me, Tom. Appreciate it.
And again, for our listeners, the Matthew is Matthew. The last name Sanjari. Find him on LinkedIn and consultingbyprime.com. Consultingbyprime.com. Cafe Networking is brought to us by Focus MI Market Intelligence, an agricultural market research specialist in Brazil. More information at focusmi.com. Talk to Tom, talk to the world. Thanks for listening. Until the next time here at Cafe and Networking Podcast.